looking at it from the employer's perspective, what advice do you have for companies about how to recruit more women in technology-oriented careers and also how to retain them? Stephanie, I know you've reported on this topic, so let's start with you this time.
Okay, so recruiting. Well, first of all, to set the stage, we have a major problem in manufacturing in the form of a skills gap and a workforce crisis moving forward. There's a new manufacturing talent study that was just released by Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute, and it says that we're on track to have about 2.1 million open manufacturing jobs by the year 2030. So there's just not a strong pipeline of people, of individuals desiring to have a career in manufacturing, and there's not a breadth of training programs available. So how do we fix that? We have to broaden our reach to attract more entry and middle skill jobs, whether it's machinists or welders or maintenance technicians. There needs to be some more community outreach. I think we hear this all the time. Organizations need to partner with community colleges and universities, but also just right down to elementary school and donate some robotics equipment and get involved and get the kids interested and focus on that little girl who is interested in the robots and make sure that you're encouraging her. There's a lot of other initiatives underway from organizations like the National Association of Manufacturers and the Manufacturing Institute that will act as a bridge to recruitment and focusing on recruiting like military veterans and offering diversity and inclusion outreach efforts. So once you get people in the door, how do you keep them? I think you have to have a career path for them. I said before, have a mentor or a role model. Somebody said to me, if you're interviewing a woman for a job, make sure you have a woman manager in the room so that she sees that there is a career path. And that actually brings up another point. McKinsey did a study or has done a study every single year on women in the workforce. And while we've seen an uptick of women in the C-suite, we are having, the bigger problem is not the glass ceiling, it's fixing the broken rung. And that is that at the entry level, women get passed over for that first promotion to manager. And then therefore, it derails their whole career path. So to get gender parity, we need to really fix that broken rung. And one more thing, having a diversity, equity, and inclusion program in place is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, because studies have shown that a company with a diverse workforce performs better financially. So something to think about.
Thanks, Stephanie. Great perspective. And I would have to mention, as you kind of mentioned, different organizations, that Inductive does have a university engagement program where we're working to get ignition into the hands of students and professors all over the country and the world. So we're doing our best to align with those initiatives as well. Kathy, why don't we go to you next?
Yeah. So obviously we do need to spend more time recruiting women into tech. I moonlight at the local university as a computer science professor, and only about a third of my students are women. So we're not at parity there yet. But we also need to focus on retention. Someone had mentioned that women do tend to leave tech earlier than the men do. And part of that is that we need to make allowances for increased flexibility. Women tend to have more child caring responsibilities, more elder care responsibilities. The good thing is when you give people that kind of flexibility, you're not just helping your women employees, you're helping all of your employees. If we allow in our recruitment for people taking non-traditional paths to get to where you are at, maybe they didn't start out majoring in computer science or engineering, maybe they took other paths to get there. Maybe they've had some gaps in their career because of other family responsibilities. That gives us a bigger candidate pool, and we're less likely to eliminate really good candidates if we're just broaden what we think of as the requirements for a good candidate.
That makes a lot of sense. And I know here at Inductive, we're very lucky to have a lot of women in leadership positions and technology-oriented fields. So we're lucky to be a part of a company like that. Lo, I know you've had a lot of experience moving up the ranks in your career. Can you give us your perspective?
Yeah, I think that it's really important that we're intentional here. I don't think any of us are done any favors as women to be hired purely because we're a woman. I don't want to live under the banner of being a diversity hire, and I hear that from a lot of other women as well. So it's really about creating a diverse slate so that hiring managers are looking at a wide variety of people and then choosing the best candidate. And if you do that over and over again, naturally the diversity of your organization will sort itself out. So how do you create those diverse slates? We're doing a number of things that I think have been really helpful. We're engaging with female-centered engineering groups like the Society of Women Engineers that's heavily focused on connecting young engineers with jobs. And we're also even looking at the way that we write job descriptions. We all have these inbuilt biases that come out in our writing and we don't even realize it. And those can impact when people are looking at a job, whether or not they want to apply. So we use online machine learning and AI systems to identify those biases in our job descriptions and help us change our word choices so that they're appealing not just to women, but to a wider variety of candidates. And then just like everyone else said, once you get those people in, you want to take really good care of them. And right now, automation engineers are in hot demand. It's not just women, it's all of them. So the things that we're doing, like Kathy said, they benefit everyone. You want to make sure that people have really clear visibility to what options are available to them as they grow their careers, and that you're giving them those development opportunities to not just get better at what they're doing today, but to prepare themselves for their goals in the future.
Thanks, Flo. That's pretty amazing to hear about the resume, search and all of that, bringing the technology to everywhere. Love it. So Shay, how about you?
Yeah, I really liked what Kathy mentioned regarding the non-traditional paths piece, specifically because I actually started out in sales at Inductive Automation while I was finishing my degree. I shared that I ultimately wanted to be a part of the sales engineering team, and I was willing to work really hard to get there, but I wanted to get on board. I bought into that. And so I started out in sales, and I think I've done pretty well for myself. I was then transitioned into an application engineering role and then promoted to a sales engineer last year. So I think I am a good poster child for showing that you can take this non-traditional experience and apply it again with that work and that appropriate training. And to the retention piece, which is, I think, really interesting to me, I really think that having clear pathways in terms of being able to grow within your organization, as well as having support from your direct management, is really huge. So personally, for me, my manager here, Kent Melville, he's a sales engineering manager. He meets with everyone on the team, both individually and in groups periodically, to check in on us in terms of, are we getting all of the tools that we need to get our job done? Do we need anything further from him? Are we meeting our goals personally within the company? And if not, is there anything that he would or we would like him to do to help us meet those goals? And I think that's really huge. I know a lot of other people around my age that work in this field, and they don't get nearly the level of support that I'm getting. Oftentimes at some really large companies that definitely have the resources. And so I think, investing in your employees and making sure that they're happy with what's happening in their day-to-day, and working with them to maybe, move into something else or take on additional responsibilities or what have you, is a great way to retain folks and potentially even grow your organization.
Thanks, Shay. I know we have all benefited from you moving up throughout the organization here at Inductive, and you have an amazing manager in Kent, so I can see you growing and growing into the future.